Hello, my name is Jason Wingfield, and I would like to talk with you guys about Andrew Carnegie. I'm sure most of you know or have heard about Carnegie Hall. I may even associate Andrew Carnegie with Filthy Rich Steel Tycoon, but I hope to impart with you some other facts about this interesting American philanthropist. Andrew Carnegie's early life. He was born in Dunfermline, Scotland. A little tongue twister there. On November 25th of 1835, to some poor Scottish parents. He had little in the way of formal education, but his parents believed strongly in the importance of learning and in reading. At the age of 13, Andrew Carnegie and his family immigrated to America, and his first job was a bobbin boy at a cotton mill, and he made a whole $1.20 a week. And then shortly after that, he got hired on as a messenger for a telegraph company. And part of the perks of that job was that he had free access to the local theater, where his appreciation of the arts grew. Then he worked his way up the ladder and became a telegraph operator. Shortly after that, he took on a job at the Pennsylvania Railroad Company as an assistant to and telegrapher to Thomas Scott, whom he became friends with and learned a great deal about business from this man. 3 years later, he was promoted to superintendent, and then while he was working at the railroad company, he started making investments in land and oil. Andrew Carnegie then left the railroad company in 1865 to pursue other business ventures, including the Keystone Bridge Company. And then over the next 10 years, Andrew spent most of his time devoted to the steel industry. His business became known as the Carnegie Steel Company. He built several plants throughout the United States, and he used technology and methods that was in existence, but he improved greatly, making steel production far cheaper and easier than it had been before. By lowering prices, this also increased demand by quite a bit. Andrew Carnegie, he dominated in this field and became exceedingly wealthy. Some people say that his drive for wealth came at workers' expense. He was always trying to find ways of saving money. And in 1892, his company tried to lower workers' wages. They refused to work in Pennsylvania, and they started a strike. It became violent, the outcome there, and even though Carnegie wasn't present for that strike, he was out of state, and his supervisors were there. He was held responsible for the violence that happened at that strike. Then in 1901, he sold his company to J.P. Morgan for a little over $480 million. And shortly thereafter, he spent about $350 million of that. He gave away to various charities and organizations. He spent the rest of his life giving away all his money, basically. Let's see, he helped create over 2,509 libraries in the United States and throughout the world. Most were public, some were private. And at this time, most libraries were not public libraries. They were, belonged to a university or other private organization. By helping create all these libraries, he opened literally the doors for millions of books to be read by people who otherwise wouldn't have had access to books. He also wrote one himself called The Gospel of Wealth, in which he asserted that all personal wealth beyond that was what was required to supply the needs of one's family should be regarded as a trust fund to be administered for the benefit of the community. It was a pretty big deal. Most wealthy people back then, they gave some money, but they didn't give anywhere near the amounts that Andrew did. He also stated publicly that the rich had a moral obligation to give away their fortunes. It was a pretty big statement for his time. He also gave $135 million endowment to establish the Carnegie Corporation of New York. That corporation is responsible still today of giving millions of dollars a year away. Schools, libraries, to help promote peace organizations throughout the world. The Carnegie Corporation of New York is also responsible for funding the first mass production of insulin. They constructed the Carnegie Hall in 1890. This corporation was also has created numerous children's programs, helped fund Head Start programs for schools. Some of this corporation's funds have helped start programs like Sesame Street. So he's, even though he's gone, his corporation that is still around, that has endowment and stuff that gives away millions of dollars each year. And we're very fortunate to have had such a generous person in American history. Thank you.